Alrighty everyone, welcome back. It is now September 18th of 2024, and given that the Walt Disney Company and all of its divisions are going through multiple setbacks and challenges as it is, we also have Bob Iger and his ongoing deliberate agenda, everything related to his ideology, really wreaking havoc at nearly every single division over at the Disney Company. Now sure, there have been exceptions with Inside Out 2 and among others like Deadpool and Wolverine that dial back sharply on everything related to DEI, but a lot of that, by the way, had to do, for example, with Ryan Reynolds taking a step up against Deadpool and Wolverine and the Disney executives and how they wanted to do things. But looking at Snow White 2025, this is a whole different situation because there's a lot of things going on right now between Rachel Zegler and Gal Gadot. Let's get into this. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. You can also follow me at Mike01. I thank you all so very much for the great and kind support. So, we all know that there's a lot of things going on with Disney. Whatever production it is, at any other division, whether it's Marvel Studios with Agatha all along, which, by the way, is looking to be a very big disaster. We have a lot to talk about that and what's been going on with that project. Lucasfilm is another example. But looking at all of the live-action remakes, and there are a lot in the works right now, there's a full roadmap and a larger roadmap that's about to be announced in just a couple of months from now that's going to include Sword of the Stone, of course, as well as others such as, for example, Hercules and other remakes that will be inserted in there that's going to also enhance their DEI agenda. Now, with Rachel Zegler, this is a very interesting situation because it's only worsening. It doesn't seem to be resolving at all when it comes to the drama that's going on over at Disney. Now, with the Snow White 25 drama only getting worse between the trailer disaster and the in-studio battle going on right now at the Walt Disney Company, one monumental development involving Rachel Zegler, yet again, has to do with her recent attack against Gal behind the scenes in the lead-up to the upcoming reshoots. Now, a crucial update to this situation now involves how Zegler is already blaming Gal for her recent firing and removal from over 3 projects at the Walt Disney Company. Now, this drama stems from how Zegler recently blamed Gal that the main reason she was let go from the many projects by Disney had to do with how Gal complaining to the Disney heads about Rachel's social media posts on X and other social media platforms by mixing real-world events with the promotion of a fictional story. Gal's issues with Rachel were in fact brought up to the Disney executives, and that was the tipping point of where Disney made their ultimate decision. And Rachel blames Gal for doing this, insisting that she should not have called her out on her behavior on the internet and how she handled the marketing for Snow White. In addition to all of that, however, Rachel recently went on a tirade that was so severe it rattled throughout the entire Walt Disney Company, where Zegler blamed Gal for how she failed all the test screenings by the screeners. This had to do with multiple, of course, scenes, some of which included both these actresses singing to each other in front of a castle, where it turns out Rachel was very difficult to work with. Now, another sequence Rachel played the blame game with, of course, against her co-star, had to do with the famous Apple scene and how Rachel informed the executives that Gal was by, of course, definition an anchor that led to her sinking with her acting capability on set. These claims against Gal are ultimately what created the massive divide, and it's exactly why of course, Rachel is refusing to do reshoots with her co-star side-by-side physically on set after getting fired from all Disney projects after Snow White 25. In addition to all of that, Rachel also went on a blame game behind the scenes in a recent gathering for the production of the film, where she claimed that Gal's acting capability made it harder for her to focus as an actress and to complete her scenes and take, of course, things properly for the first and third acts of the film. Now, a 6th test screening, mind you, is already set to be presented to screeners in the coming days, just before they plan to put a date on further reshoots. Now, guys, about those reshoots, we talked about this. They want to get things started right around December, at the latest January, to kind of just fix the first and third acts of this film, and to hopefully, they're crossing their fingers at least, that they can get this thing still out by March, late March. Whether they do reshoots or however extended those reshoots are going to be at this point, As of right now, they are focusing on only the first and third acts. No official word on everything related to the second act of the film. That's still up in the air. But interestingly enough, they're pouring more funds into these reshoots, and we're going to go over that in just a second. But this blame game by Rachel Zegler that sparked behind the scenes is not a shocker at all. We've seen similar patterns from other actresses pointing fingers at their co-stars. I mean, we've seen this with Brie Larson against Ryan Reynolds, and what happened behind closed doors with Deadpool and Wolverine, and how she lost her cameos. And not to mention, of course, we've had other scenarios, like, for example, when you look at other productions related to Lucasfilm, where co-stars were blaming each other. You know, Amanda Stenberg, blaming other co-stars as to why this didn't work or that didn't work, or blaming the fans here and there. It's not a big surprise at all. But in this situation, I would not be too surprised if they do end up delaying Snow White until the summer, and that is one thing, by the way, that is on the table as an emergency response to this movie, is that if they can't get the reshoots done on time, they're going to have to delay until June or July of next year. Now, moving onwards, on top of this, though, more millions, of course, are being invested into the failing film that will certainly lose money for the Disney company. To make matters worse, with Rachel blaming Gal for all the reasons why she was fired, she is also, of course, has been playing the victim card over how she was fired, and already played the race card against the Disney heads. Now, this in turn is only creating more drama between the actresses and the executives, and it's only starting to heat up now since reshoots are already a shaky mess as it is. Disney is already set to actually put in an extra $25 million for reshoots, and that's just for starters, by the way, to adjust the first act. So $25 million just for the first act alone for reshoots related to Snow White. I don't know about you guys, but this is a very big deal. They already lost $150 million on The Little Mermaid, as it turns out, and that really kind of spells doom for what's coming for this upcoming live-action remake of Snow White. Now look, it seems like Disney never learns. Sure, I've mentioned this before, they have exceptions. Inside Out 2, prime example. If you shift away from your agenda or your ideology, you're gonna make money. And there was a lot of in-studio fighting, by the way, with that movie as well, just as much as Snow White 25. There were a lot of employees that were very much angry toward the Disney heads for just taking a temporary dial back on their overall stance on DEI to see what would actually happen, and to kind of just tease the general public, their customer base, that, yeah, we're actually going to have some exceptions where we dial back on that, but we're not dialing back on that completely. That's basically Bob Iger's strategy, to kind of reel them back in, hoping that they'll actually stick around for the next couple of projects. That's basically a bait-and-switch scenario. But overall, I think that this movie's going to be very much of a failure, as much as The Acolyte, as much as with the Minecraft movie, very well might be a failure as well, based on the trailer response, and we have a lot more to talk about that. But overall, I would like to hear what you all have to say about this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys later.